All right, Keith Costas has been doing the lifting on this for the last couple of weeks, and as we're less than 2 weeks away from Hall of Fame Day, there is one or two names on this ballot, and we went through Joe Mauer yesterday, that most people agree are locks. Adrian Beltre gets to 3,000 hits for his career, played a long, long time, and there's much more. Keith, take it away.
Yep, Matty, we've gotten through 11 of the 12 first-time candidates here in this little segment, and we've saved the best for last, Adrian Beltre. There's no doubt he's going to waltz in on his first ballot, but that wasn't always the case. So we'll go back all the way to the beginning of his historic career. And you take a look at this board here, youngest players to debut in the last 40 seasons. Should have given us a good idea right off the bat that he had a pretty good chance to end up in Cooperstown. I would vote for all of these guys. I know people feel differently about A-Rod. Harper, obviously, still adding to his case, but pretty good company in terms of just getting to the big leagues at such a ridiculously young age. Now, he bounced around a little bit before he established himself in Texas, and you think about that walk year he had with the Dodgers, 49 home runs at 25 years old. He got to the big league so early. He was a free agent at 25, ends up signing that 5-year, $64 million contract with the Mariners, and kind of fell off the radar for a little bit there. Battled some injuries, obviously a pitcher's park in Old Safeco. He won his first couple of Gold Gloves there, but guys, the point I'm getting at here, he didn't make his first All-Star game until his 13th season.
Wow.
No Hall of Famer before has ever gone that long. David Ortiz currently holds the record, if you want to call it a record, at 8 seasons, so not even close with Beltre at 31 years old during his first All-Star appearance. Now, you mentioned the 3,000 hits, Matt. It wasn't just that he collected a lot of hits. How about this? He's in the top quartile of 3,000 hit club members in terms of highest percentage of extra base hits. So he wasn't just collecting singles, obviously. Pretty good company in terms of hitting for power and collecting that many hits. Add it all up, and you got a case for him to be one of the best third basemen in the history of the game. Only Brooks Robinson played more games at the position. Third most home runs behind Schmidt and Eddie Matthews. Third most runs scored behind Chipper and George Brett, and leads in those other categories you see there. Add that all up and take the position out of it. How about in the last 50 years, position players to accumulate 90-plus WAR? You're talking about a half a century and less than a half dozen players that did it better than Beltre, statistically speaking, in terms of combining longevity, durability, and just sheer excellence to get to this number over the course of his career. So like I said, guys, there's not much mystery here. He is going to waltz right in. But I remember back when the network started, I can specifically remember a conversation we had about, is Adrian Beltre on the Hall of Fame highway? And it wasn't just split, it was decidedly no about halfway through his career. Fast forward another 10 years, and he's going to be close to unanimous 98% in the tracker right now.
Yeah, and it's all based on that time date stamp, right? Because when that conversation was being kicked around here, it was 2009, 2010. He had that bad last year in Seattle, and then he tried to rebuild his brand with the one-year deal in Boston that you talked about, Keith, and then it was off and running as soon as he got to Texas. I would also guess this. He's got to be one of the only players, if not the only player. You mentioned the All-Star appearance not coming until his 13th Major League season. That was 6 years after he won a Major League home run title.
He definitely should have been an All-Star before that. I mean, that walk year we talked about with the Dodgers was one of the best seasons in the history of the franchise, but it's a crowded position. You think about Chipper and Scott Rowland being there in the National League when he moved over to the American League. A-Rod was the third baseman at that point, so it took him a while to establish himself on a national scale for the casual fan, but by the time he got to Texas, there was no doubt that this guy was racking up All-Star appearances and top 10 MVP finishes almost every year in his mid-30s.
You know, Keith and Matt, I was thinking about his career and that 2004 year where he finished second to Barry Bonds. Barry walked 232 times, I think, that year. Had a 690 on base, whatever. So no chance of robbing him. But he finished second that year. I think what happened, he set such a high bar with that year in Los Angeles that those next 4 or 5 years that he was kind of lost, or people talked about he couldn't match that season. He was never going to match that season again. And then once he got to Texas, he solidified himself as one of the best players at the position.
Also remembering that 04 season when he hit the 48 homers, he had knee surgery. He wasn't right that year. He changed his pass, he changed his approach at the plate, and all of a sudden found this power, then went to Seattle. And as was the case for many power-hitting free agents back in the early 2000s, go to Seattle and the numbers get crushed because it was not conducive to that style of hitter at the time. It's since changed. That ballpark plays a lot more fairly for offensive-minded players. But what a fascinating case, man. And you know how you remember certain names being spoken by certain voices in the game. This is speaking as a fan, as a consumer. So everybody hears Skip Carey when you see the name Chipper Jones. You can't say Chipper Jones without saying Chipper Jones. That's Skip Carey. Whenever I hear Adrian Beltre or see Adrian Beltre, I think of Ross Porter. Many years as a radio voice of the Dodgers with Vin Scully, and I always hear Ross the boss saying, "Here's Adrian Beltre." And the winner gets a gift certificate for Chipper Total. You know, like in that.
He would just elide over his last name. Yeah, he also, the thing that stuck with me is that I had been an infielder growing up, and you learn how to play the infield in a certain way, and you get your legs and your body and everything moving toward first base so you can make the throw. He was the first guy I ever saw that would field the ground ball, step to his right at third base, and kind of throw across his body as his momentum was going towards the third base dugout. No one did that until he did it, and I think it really says great things about his great athleticism.
Yeah, I love that, Ronnie. Anybody who's into the Hall of Fame, I would encourage him to read Jay Jaffe's profile. It's got great information, too much to get into in these segments, but he had a lot on exactly what you're talking about, Ron, and how he worked with Ron Washington, and he basically defied everything that Ron Washington has become famous for teaching, and just said, this guy gets it done without my help. I don't know what to make of it, but he gets the job done better than just about anybody I've seen.
He defied many conventions, including where the on-deck circle should be located, because according to Adrian Beltre, it was to be located wherever he wanted it. We recall his very famously being ejected from a game by Joe West. I want this over here, Joe. I'm in the on-deck circle. You're out of here. So many great moments with this guy.
And I think this resonates with fans. You know, very few players look like they're having a blast while they're playing. He's one of the few.
That's a great
and I think that resonates with fans. You know, you're supposed to enjoy it. It's a great job.
He and Elvis Andrus, they were like, you know, the annoying brothers that you're trying to babysit and get to bed on time.
The Step Brothers.
The Step Brothers. Perfect. Great stuff, Keith. Adrian Beltre is probably going to get a very pleasant phone call in less than 2 weeks, and we'll find out who'll join him in that class of 2024 right here on MLB Network.